Monday, August 21st, 2023. Topic: Pablo Escobar. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this entirely AI-generated video.
This text provides a detailed account of Pablo Escobar's early life, his aspirations, and the beginnings of his notorious criminal career, including his first major kidnapping. Pablo Escobar, born on the 1st of December 1949 in Rio Negro, Antioquia Department, was the third of 7 children. Raised in poverty in Medellin, he left high school in 1966, returning 2 years later with his cousin Gustavo Gaviria. The pair dropped out after a year, but Escobar forged high school diplomas to study criminal law in college, aspiring to become a lawyer, politician, and president. However, financial constraints forced him to abandon his studies. Pablo Escobar began his criminal career by stealing and reselling tombstones. He later joined gangs to steal cars and eventually escalated to violent crime, including kidnapping for ransom. His most notorious kidnapping was of businessman Diego Echevarria in 1971, for which he received a $50,000 ransom. Despite receiving the ransom, Echevarria was killed, marking a significant escalation in Escobar's criminal activities. Pablo Escobar, involved in organized crime since the mid-1960s, rose to prominence in the 1970s as the cocaine trade expanded in Colombia. Despite being arrested in 1976, he manipulated the legal system through bribery and intimidation, leading to his release. His strategy of bribing or threatening officials and politicians, known as silver or lead, allowed him to control various levels of the Colombian government. The Medellin cartel, which Escobar led, expanded significantly in 1978, transporting large quantities of cocaine to the U.S. Escobar and his cartel co-founder Carlos later developed a new transshipment point in the Bahamas, Norman's Cay, to meet the growing demand for cocaine in the U.S. The island, which was not owned by Escobar but by later, was equipped with an airstrip, a harbor, a hotel, houses, boats, aircraft, and a refrigerated warehouse for storing cocaine. From 1978 to 1982, it served as a central smuggling route for the Medellin cartel. The profits from this operation allowed Escobar to buy a large estate in Antioquia, where he built a luxury house with various amenities. Pablo Escobar, known as the Robin Hood Paisa, was a notorious Colombian drug lord who also invested heavily in philanthropy, developing infrastructure in Medellin's poorest neighborhoods. He entered politics in the 1980s, gaining parliamentary immunity and a diplomatic passport. However, his criminal activities led to his expulsion from the Liberal Party and his retirement from politics. Escobar was involved in numerous violent acts, including the assassination of political opponents and the bombing of Avianca Flight 203. His activities eventually led to direct intervention from the U.S. government. After the assassination of Luis Carlos Galán, the Colombian government under Cesar Gaviria negotiated with drug lord Pablo Escobar, convincing him to surrender and cease criminal activity in exchange for a reduced sentence and preferential treatment. Escobar surrendered in 1991 following the prohibition of Colombian citizens' extradition to the U.S. He was confined in a luxurious private prison, La Catedral. However, reports of his continued criminal activities led to an attempt to move him to a conventional jail in 1992, which he escaped from, spending the rest of his life evading the police. On the 2nd of December 1993, infamous drug lord Pablo Escobar was found and killed by Colombian special forces in a middle-class residential area of Medellin. The operation used technology provided by the U.S. Escobar was shot in the torso, feet, and head during a gunfight while trying to escape. His death sparked debate over whether he committed suicide or was shot dead. Following the death of Pablo Escobar and the fragmentation of the Medellin cartel, the cocaine market was dominated by the rival Cali cartel until its leaders were killed or captured in the mid-1990s. Escobar's Robin Hood image still influences Medellin, with many of the city's poor mourning his death and over 25,000 attending his funeral. Some even consider him a saint and pray to him for divine help. Escobar was buried at the Monte Sacro Cemetery. In 2006, Virginia Vallejo, a former lover of Pablo Escobar, testified against ex-Senator Alberto Santofimio, who was accused of conspiring in the 1989 assassination of presidential candidate Luis Carlos Galán. Despite her late testimony, a video in which Vallejo accused Santofimio of instigating Escobar to kill Galán was aired, leading to the reopening of the case. Santofimio was sentenced to 24 years in prison in 2011. Vallejo was taken to the U.S. by the DEA for safety reasons due to her cooperation in high-profile criminal cases. Journalist Virginia Vallejo's detailed account of Pablo Escobar's role in the 1985 Palace of Justice siege led to the reopening of the case in 2008. Her testimony confirmed Escobar financed the operation, but blamed the army for over 100 deaths. This led to the conviction of a former colonel and general for forced disappearances. Vallejo also implicated several politicians, including Colombian presidents Alfonso López Michelson, Ernesto Samper, and Álvaro Uribe, of having links to drug cartels in her book Loving Pablo, Hating Escobar. Pablo Escobar's widow, Maria Henao, and their children fled Colombia in 1995, eventually settling in Argentina. Despite her husband's infidelities, Henao remained supportive of him, which saved her and her children from being killed by the Cali cartel after Escobar's death. In Argentina, Henao became a successful real estate entrepreneur until her true identity was discovered and she was imprisoned for 18 months. She was released after authorities failed to link her funds to illegal activity. In 2018, she and her son were accused of money laundering by an Argentine federal judge. Following the death of Pablo Escobar, his ranch, zoo, and citadel at Hacienda Napoles were given to low-income families by the Colombian government under the Extinción de Dominio law. The property has since been transformed into a theme park, complete with 4 luxury hotels overlooking the zoo. Roberto Escobar, brother of infamous drug lord Pablo Escobar, founded Escobar Inc. in 2014 with Olaf K. Gustafsson. The company was established in California, United States, where they registered successor in interest rights for Pablo Escobar. The Colombian government has started a program to chemically sterilize the hippos that were originally owned by drug lord Pablo Escobar. The hippos were left on his estate after his death and have since multiplied to around 40. The animals have been roaming the area and have even attacked humans and killed cattle. While some environmentalists are campaigning to protect the hippos, there is disagreement about their impact on the local environment. The National Geographic Channel has produced a documentary about them titled Cocaine Hippos. The 6-story Edificio Monaco apartment complex in Medellin, once home to drug lord Pablo Escobar, was demolished on the 22nd of February 2019. The building, which had been unoccupied since a 1988 car bomb attack, had become a tourist attraction. The city's mayor, Federico Gutierrez, had been pushing for its demolition to make way for a park honoring the victims of the cartels. Colombian President Ivan Duque said the demolition showed that the city had evolved and had more to offer than the legacy left by the cartels. Pablo Escobar married Maria Victoria Henao in 1976, despite her family's disapproval, and they had 2 children. Journalist Virginia Vallejo published a memoir in 2007 detailing her romantic relationship with Escobar and his connections with various political figures, which inspired the 2017 movie Loving Pablo. Drug distributor Griselda Blanco also reportedly had a secret relationship with Escobar. Pablo Escobar, the infamous drug lord, owned numerous properties, including the notorious Hacienda Napoles, a luxury house with a zoo, and a 6,500 square foot mansion in Miami Beach, Florida, which was later seized by the U.S. government. He also owned a large Caribbean getaway on Isla Grande, featuring a mansion, apartments, a large swimming pool, and a helicopter landing pad. The properties, now mostly dilapidated or seized, are a testament to Escobar's immense wealth and extravagant lifestyle. Several books have been written about infamous drug lord Pablo Escobar, including works by his brother Roberto Escobar and son Juan Pablo Escobar. These books explore his rise to infamy, his role in the Medellin cartel, his death, and the dismantling of his cartel. Other books place his story in the context of the failed war on drugs and investigate his potential involvement in the murder of CIA pilot Barry Seal. Gabriel Garcia Marquez's nonfiction book News of a Kidnapping also features Escobar. Several films have been made about the life of notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar, including Escobar 2009 and Killing Pablo 2011. Other films include Blow 2001, where Escobar is portrayed by Cliff Curtis, and Escobar Paradise Lost 2014, a romantic thriller. Loving Pablo 2017 is based on Virginia Vallejo's book with Javier Bardem as Escobar. American Made 2017 features Mauricio Mejia as Escobar. In the parody biopic Weird the Al Yankovic Story 2022, Arturo Castro portrays Escobar as a fan of Weird Al Yankovic. Pablo Escobar's life and criminal activities have been depicted in various TV series and documentaries. These include Court TV's Mugshots, HBO's Entourage, ESPN's The Two Escobars, Caracol TV's El Cartel and Pablo Escobar, El Patron del Mal, RTI Producciones Tres Canes, Fox Telecolombia's Alias El Mexicano and El General Naranjo, and Netflix's Narcos and Countdown to Death, Pablo Escobar. National Geographic's biography series Facing and the UK documentary Killing Escobar also feature Escobar. The portrayals of Escobar have been played by various actors, including Adrian Grenier, Andres Parra, Juan Pablo Franco, Wagner Moura, and Federico Rivera. Pablo Escobar's legacy has influenced various music artists, including American rappers E40 and Kanye West, and Brazilian duo Dub Dogs. E40's 2013 song Pablo pays tribute to Escobar, while Kanye West's 2016 album The Life of Pablo is partly inspired by him. Dub Dogs' 2020 track Pablo Escobar has over 5.6 million views. Additionally, the 2018 single Narcos by Migos references Escobar, the Medellin Cartel, and the Netflix series Narcos. Thus began the infamous journey of Pablo Escobar from petty crime to becoming one of the world's most notorious and feared drug lords.